Good evening, San Ildefonso. How are you? I'm Diné. I'm going to be your cooking host this evening. So I don't know if any of you saw me in the first video that we did, but I'm from Yakima, and Governor and the diabetes program have invited me up here to demonstrate and to provide some healthy cooking options for everybody. Tonight, the main course is going to be salads, and I can already hear people saying, "Oh gosh, salads suck. Salads are just lettuce and tomato." But actually, they're not. There's all types of salads that you can create in your own kitchens. And since it's getting closer to summertime, not a lot of people want to be sleeping over a hot stove or a hot oven, or just wanting to heat up the kitchen. We want something that's cooked, that we don't necessarily have to cook, but it's fast and it's easy. Okay, so the 3 salads that we have for tonight, the first one is a grain salad. We're going to be using wild rice and also farro, which is also known as, I can't remember the English name, barley. So those are the 2 grains, and then we're also going to be incorporating these are microgreens. We have tomatoes, we have pumpkin seeds, we have some golden raisins. So we're going to be adding a lot of things to it. But we are also going to be making a type of steak to put on the side with that. So it's not just going to be lettuce, tomatoes. The second one that we're going to be doing is what I call an everything salad. This can have, what we're going to be using is red lettuce. We're going to put in some cilantro, some tomatoes, some bell peppers, some zucchini, carrot, garbanzos. We're going to be putting in a lot of things, including some apple and some strawberries. So we don't want to forget that fruits can also go into these salads as well. And the last that we're also going to make is a tomato, cucumber, garbanzo salad. That's one that can be eaten with rice or a side of fish or chicken. So that's more of a side salad that you eat that comes with other proteins that we have. So let's get started. Let's come this way. Actually, might help too. You guys might be able to hear me a little bit better. All right, so we're first going to start with the grains. Now, as you can see here, we have our wild rice. I actually go straight up to Minnesota and I get this wild rice. All right, and then this is going to be the barley. Now, some people, especially my brother, not too long ago said, "Oh, I hate barley. When I eat it, it gets slimy. I don't like the texture." That's because it's never been cooked correctly. There's a certain way to cook barley so that it doesn't get that slimy, gelatinous taste or texture to it. It's kind of in the same family as oatmeal. When you cook oatmeal, the longer you cook it, it kind of becomes gluey or gelatinous. That's how it's supposed to become, that type of grain. But if you don't cook it as long, especially this one, it doesn't get that texture. It has a very chewy and nutty flavor and texture to it as well. All right. So anytime you're cooking grains or seed, and technically wild rice is a seed, not a grain. So we already have that one washed. But when you wash them, anything that you wash, you always want to make sure that you wash it until the water is clear. You never know what's in it when it's packaged. Like this one. Not very much. But sometimes there's bug eggs, there's larvae, different things for your grains. You always want to get that washed out. So just until the water starts to run clear. That's how long you want to leave it. Okay. So usually you have to cook it a couple of minutes before. That's pretty good. So we're going to start with our, like I said, our greens first. We're going to get this cooking. I already have some water in there. And with barley, when you cook it, We first want to get it to come to a boil. We're not going to put any salt in here right now. Some people would, but because we're going to be putting additional flavor from the dressing that we're going to make, we're not going to season it now because sometimes that can be overbearing. You're going to bring that up to a boil. And I don't necessarily measure the water and the barley together because we're not going to let it absorb all the water. We're only going to let it get to a certain point so that we can strain out the water. If not, that's when again we start to get slimy. So we're going to bring this up to the boil. And then with this one, with our wild rice, we're going to cook it in an Instant Pot. If you don't have an Instant Pot, you can cook it on the stove. If you cook it on the stove, you're going to use a 4-to-1 ratio of rice to water. Okay? So in an Instant Pot, we're going to be doing about 2-to-1. Okay. So you don't have to use water. You can use stock. You can use bouillon if you have any of that available. And the other thing that we're going to be using in here is wild celery. So I don't know if any of you go out and gather this. If you haven't, ask mom, ask grandma, ask aunties, sometimes even uncles and grandpas. They know how to go out and gather this. So this is the fresh kind, but you can also let it dry out and it will be like this. And you can use it in the dry form for seasonings, for all types of, use it the same way that you want other dry. So we're going to take a few sprigs of this. And again, wild celery tastes just like regular celery. I'm going to take this, throw it in. You have a couple of different settings. So what I'm going to use is micro or multi-grain, and actually I'm going to run it up to 25 minutes on high. Make sure you close that seal back here so that it does the pressure. It's not going to be explosive. Okay. So while we have our grain going, the other thing that we're going to do is that we have our steak. Okay. Now, if you're cooking steak, this one, as you can see, it's not runny. I've kind of left it uncovered. It's at room temperature right now, but it's been uncovered. Seasoned just a little bit of salt, with a little bit of salt from the night before. Now, one thing that I was looking for tonight was for a small audience. And I also wanted to talk about seasoning. Salt is a big seasoning that people teach overuse. Before that I post, okay, so let's bring it over here. The two that I'm cooking with tonight over here, this is kosher salt and this is regular sea salt. The different types that we have here. This is a Hawaiian sea salt. This actually has a very mild flavor and it's not very salty compared to the iodized table salt that most people buy in the stores. This one is an Italian sea salt. This comes from the Mediterranean. This also has a very mild flavor as well to it. A lot of times this comes in a coarse style. This one here, this is Indian salt. This was from the Salt Lake that's out by Zuni. This is one that I use quite often, and I use it in a grinder. This way it comes out more powder-like. And this is usually what I would use when I'm finishing off a dish. And again, this one is very mild. This one here is kosher. And kosher salt comes in different forms as well. This one is more of a flake form. It also comes in more of a diamond shape as well. But it really depends on who you get it from. There's also Himalayan salt, there's black salt. There's one that's called a malted salt, where it's very flaky. That one is also known as finishing salt, because when you eat it, that flake is so tender that it melts into the food when you're There's steak on there. First one. Now, anytime you're cooking beef, the first 20 to 30 seconds is one of the most important times. And that is because when you press it down, it starts to develop that crust that you see in some of the professional steakhouses. If you just slap it on there, sometimes not the entire surface does not touch the pan. We want to press that down for the first 20 seconds, and it will start to develop that crust. Okay. So, all right. So now on to once it's boiled for at least 5 minutes, we're going to bring it down to about a medium low simmer. Just so it will start to slowly get over the Let's start on So again, for this, what we're going to be using are microgreens. We have toasted pumpkin seeds. We're going to have some tomatoes, some gold gravy, and a little bit of. Now with zucchini, there's lots of different ways you can use it. I like a box cutter to utilize this as much as possible. So that would be good. Now, if you are here, you would be able to smell. You guys smell it? There's a couple people in here. Now, as you can see, it's developed that crust. You can leave it there for a few more minutes. All right. All right. So now that we have all that going, we have our grains going, we have pretty much everything for the salad prepped and ready. We have our zucchini, we have our microgreens, pumpkin seeds, tomatoes. All we're really waiting for right now is for the grains to finish and for the meat to finish. Okay. So while we're waiting for that, we're going to go ahead and make our dressing. So our dressing is going to be more of balsamic vinaigrette. I usually use the darker, this one is going to be a dark red grape from Italy that we make. We've got some Greek olive oil, got a little bit of honey. So, what we're going to do first, put in some olive oil or some vinegar. And then when you're making a vinaigrette, basic ratios are 3 to 1. 3 parts of olive oil, 1 part vinegar or another type of acid. In this case, we're also going to put in honey. This one is actually an orange honey. Well, you can't smell it, but if you could, you'd be able to smell the orange blossoms that are from here. Now, what honey is going to do, honey is like that friend that keeps all the friends happy together. So if this friend is fighting and that friend is fighting, like oil and vinegar do, they're not going to stay together. Honey is the one that says, hey, oil, hey, vinegar, come on, let's go party together and have some fun. So it keeps everybody happy together. It keeps everything from splitting up. It keeps it all multiplied together. And then pop this in the oven really quick. Finish in there. Fine. So now that we have oil, vinegar, honey in there, and put a little bit of salt. I want to put a little bit to begin with. Pepper. You're going to throw this on, and you're going to shake. Good.
Nice.
The honey helps mellow out the strongness of the vinegar. But again, this particular olive oil that I'm using is one that's meant more for salads or finished. It's not used for hot. So that's what we go. So now that our sauce is made, so let's keep this side. Let's get started on everything. Right? So the everything salad is one that uses vegetables. We're going to use red leaf lettuce. This is one of my favorites. Red leaf because it starts green and then the top of the leaf will go red or more. Okay. These are just going to be rough chopped. Also going to add this one is arugula and spinach. Now with arugula, I have a friend that says she doesn't really like it. He says that the name is arugula, but I like it because it has a bit of a peppery taste to it. Not necessarily like strong pepper, more like a bit of a spicy pepper. But then in the back, it has like a nutty flavor to it as well. So we're going to be adding some. And then not to be out. This is the herb that I love to grow. So that's going to be the base of our stuff. And actually, here's the other things that we're going to add to it. Yeah, we have bell pepper, which has a bit of sweetness to it. Red bell peppers. Easiest way for me to open it. Cut it in half. And then just remove that. You can take out the seeds if you want. And you can chunk it, you can make it long, you can do whatever, or however you feel that you want your bell pepper. And the size of this will also depend on how many people in your family that you're eating. Carrots, these have already been cleaned. I tend to start with the thick one first. Carrots. Spread that. Cherry tomatoes. You can use large tomatoes like this, or you can mix and match. For those of you that might be growing tomatoes in your garden, you can use mix. Those again. So one thing is that salad should always be quick. You shouldn't take a lot of time, unless you're doing grains, or protein or meat or fish, chicken, whatever you want to have with you. Eat. So that's going to be about a medium to medium rare. On the steak, if you like your meat a little more done, if you like cooking the oven for a little longer. If you want to heat up your if not, you will keep it on the stove a little bit longer. get our steak that's slightly thinner this way, it doesn't end up drying out on the outside. So as you can see, these grains are starting to hydrate. Nope. Still slightly firm. I'm gonna get a little more chewy. But as you can see, they're falling apart. Nothing is lining or turning gelatinous. And now that it's summertime, me personally, I like to eat a lot more salad. I like to eat fresh soups. I'm not so much into eating a lot of burgers, a lot of high carb items. And the reason for that is I'm also a runner. I like to get out there and exercise. I like to get out there, but usually along Wolfskin in Albuquerque, if I'm running down there, I have a couple of dogs, one that will run with me, and a tiny little one that actually have a backpack. And so that's extra weight that I take with me. So yeah, sometimes it's a little cool coming out the side or this side. But that's always fun for me. I don't know about any of you. What are your goals for the summertime? Do you have a plan for being able to run a 5K, a virtual 5K, a 10K? How many of you actually get out and just go walk around with Buffalo or hills? Because if I could go do that, I really would. That's something that I really miss about being, besides not being able to see family, but being able to just go outside and enjoy everything that's around me. Are any of you, learning to, not learning, but getting bikes and going out biking? That's something that's always fun. But eating healthier meals, even if it's a meal that just incorporates a little bit of some tomatoes, some carrots, lettuce. We're just trying a new type of lettuce. And that's something I want to challenge you guys to be able to do, or adding cilantro or a new herb into what you're making. I know, like my sister, she has one of those spinning spice rack things. And every time I look at it, I think, why isn't she using everything on there? For me, that's like, yay, a candy store like you. Let me see what I can do with cayenne today, or turmeric, or all these different spices that she has on there. And my spice cabinet at home is all 3 are filled. Sometimes there's spice stores that I just love going with. I love the smell of them. Lavender salt. All the different herbs that we can use. And eventually we'll get into that, and I'll teach you how to make different spice herbs. You don't have to get something that's pre-jarred, that's probably going to have a lot of sodium in it, or preservatives. The different things that your body doesn't need. I can teach you to make the spice rub, the red chili, green chili, nutritional yeast, a lot of stuff that you don't need to put salt in, or that very little of. So those are things that we're going to get into later in the year. But also, everything that I'm teaching you right now is going to eventually overlap. So, as we get further into the summertime, with grilling, well, yes, you can make side salads. You can also make, all these different foods. So everything's going to overlap, especially with the wild rice, because as we get to fall, there are a lot more foods that we can make using wild rice, instead of making stuffing, with that stuff in a box. Make wild rice. And that is so good, especially in the chicken or even quail. That's a good one. Okay, so let's check on the grains. These are right about done. So you can see in some of this toward the middle, it's still opaque. It's not quite translucent. So that's about the point. Couple more minutes and they should be done. But again, they're falling apart. Nothing's together. And we will rinse those. All right. So for me, cooking, it makes me happy. I get in here, I'm like, oh, yay, what can we do? I've got lemons, I've got zucchini, I've got all these different things. It makes me happy to think, what can I make me happy? And the one thing that I always was told growing up is never cook when you're not happy. Because how you feel in here is what's going to come out in your food. If you're sad, if you're stressed, if you're just not having a good day, don't put your hands on the food. If not, it's going to take on that feeling that you have in here. So always cook when you're happy. Some days you just don't want to get happy. Yeah, I don't know about you, but for me, going home and seeing my dogs, even though they're not always the calmest dogs, they're the ones that love to run up to you and jump up and down and give you millions of kisses. I'd rather have that than come home and say, it's just not a good day. I'd rather come home and see happy like that. Okay, so this is garbanzo beans. All right, and the type that I like to get are no salt or low sodium. This way you are able to control how much salt you're putting into your food. And for me, the less salt that comes from an outside source is the better, because now I can control what I'm putting into my body and what I'm putting into anybody else's. All right, so when we have, we're going to drain it out. Right? And actually, everything that is coming out of here, this is actually called aquafaba. And for vegans, if you ever want to try to have a vegan, this is very important because they actually use this aquafaba into plate of eggs, egg white, that sort of stuff, especially when they eat. And I have made bread before using it, and it comes out pretty good. Now, canned beans, even though these say no salt, I always want to rinse them until we get no more bubbles. Because we're going to use these in everything salad, and then we're also going to use them in that other salad that I mentioned, which we are going to use with tomatoes and cucumber, and then also this. So part of these that are going to go into this one. Okay, so that's about half. Now again, we're also going to put the meat. We have strawberries. These will bring sweetness, but it also will play off the sweetness on the red peppers that we put in here as well. I was little, my parents used to take us to strawberry fields. I would sit in those strawberry fields for, gosh, as long as I could. I would just eat strawberries all day. This is one of my favorite fruits. Make strawberries in salads, strawberry shortcake, strawberry pie, make a strawberry compote that you put over fresh pancakes or waffles. There's so many things you can do with strawberries. You can eat them just like this with cream, or have a balsamic section, drizzle some over it. Yes, so strawberries I highly recommend, especially if you're in the field and you have nothing to do with it, go to strawberry field. I'll come sit there and see them. Right? Let's see some of that zucchini that we had. I can always grate some more. This is pretty much everything. Right? So again, we have our red leaf lettuce, we have spinach, we have arugula, we have red bell peppers and carrot and zucchini, strawberries, garbanzos. There's cilantro. What have I forgotten? There's so much. You can even throw nuts in here too. Walnuts. We have. Let's use some more of these. Again, toasted pumpkin. Throw avocados in these. You know, the sky's the limit on what you can put into the salad. You know, on this one, actually, I hear the faro. Sounds like it is done. Okay. And drinks. Hey, Sarah, can you be my assistant for a moment? Thank you. I need you to hold this. Dump all that out. Good. Thank you. Now, as you can see, all of that water coming out, you're left with just the grain. This is not going to be slimy, it's going to be chewy, it's going to be nutty. And then once our wild rice finishes, we're going to mix these two together for that grain bowl, in which we will also add some steak with it as well. Okay, so we're gonna finish letting that drain. We have just a few minutes left on our wild rice. Okay. So in the meantime, okay, so we have the everything salad. We're going to make a dressing for this one now. This one, I know I have a recipe that I'm going to put online, but actually I'm going to mix this up just a little bit. We got our olive. And now we're going to put in some lemon. And you don't always have to use vinegars. You don't have to use lemons. You can use grapefruit. You can use oranges. You can use, Dijon mustards, for making your salad dressing. All right. So to this, I'm going to put in, this is actually Hawaiian salt in here. A little bit of pepper. And then from the box of spices, I'm gonna put a little bit of ginger in here. Right, and just a little bit of garlic. Less than a quarter teaspoon for those that, like to have it better. A little bit of honey. And honey is the best friend that keeps everybody all happy at the party. Keeps them from splitting up. All right. Shake it until you can see everything is staying together. That's all becoming emulsified. And that's what the honey does to it. Food should make you go, yummy. Food should never go, ugh, what was that? Then you'd be like my sister. She's Asian. She learns everything. Taste that.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a little more tangy. Nice.
Slightly tangy. It's going to be right. So that when you dress your salad in, mix it around the outside. Because everything will go up and in, up and in. Put apples. Oh, I was gonna put apple in this. Oh well, too late. But if you're home and you have apples, throw some apples in here. All right. So hold it. A little bit of it. Again, all the different arugula, cilantro, strawberries, bell peppers. So we're gonna go to an unofficial taste tester. Troy? Sarah?
Sure.
Let's test it.
Bon appetit.
I'd love to comment something about how good it looks.
This is great, Diné. Very flavorful. Different textures, different tastes.
All right, so that's your everything salad. Again, go nuts. Add everything you can to it. It's all gonna come together. So we're gonna put this to the side for now. All right. So now we're going to start on that. Okay, a few more minutes. We're gonna go to the grain salad. So in the meantime, we're gonna go to. Okay. We're gonna go to the other one, the tomato, cucumber, garbanzo. So we already have garbanzos here. Throw those in. Some of these off. Some. So with the tomatoes, they're clean, they're washed. They look so good. Again, food to make you go, not ew. So on these, if you want to put them in whole, you can put them in whole. If you want to cut them in half, I like to cut mine on the bites. Don't know why, they just look prettier that way. We all eat with our eyes first. And a sharp knife is one of the main things that you need in your kitchens. If you don't have a sharp knife, go find your uncle, your brother, your dad, your grandpa. You know they all love to sharpen knives. And tomatoes are also another one of my favorites. There are times that I just crave tomatoes that, I'll take tomatoes for lunch. But always listen to your body. Whenever I'm hungry, I just say, okay, how am I feeling? Not what do I want, what am I craving, but how am I feeling? Am I feeling crunchy? Am I feeling sweet and sour? Am I feeling spicy? Am I feeling like meat? What do I feel like? What is my body saying? I think I want that today. That's what I tend to say to myself. My family will always say, well, what do you want? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I want to feel like. Then I go through them. What do I want? Do I want salty, spicy? What do I feel like? So again, sometimes they see me talking to myself, and I don't care. I like talking to my food. My food tells me what I want. All right, so again, we have garbanzos, we have some tomatoes. Where is my cucumber? Give me a second. It looks like I forgot my cucumber, but you can also do this without cucumber. Again, we're going to use olive oil. Sure, I'm going to find that cucumber, or at least the remnants of it at home. Because, believe it or not, my dogs love cucumbers and garbanzos and carrots. Yeah, they're partially vegetarian. So we're going to use olive oil. We've got some lemon. And again, you're going to see that a lot of these summertime flavors are going to overlap each other. The olive oil, the lemon, the dill, different things like that. Because these are all fresh ingredients that are in season. Always go with what's in season. And if you didn't watch the last video, I showed you how you should look for a lemon. Lemons that are rounded on the ends, these are the type that you want to get because they're going to have more juice in it. They're not going to be dry. And also feel for one that has a thinner skin. If you find a lemon that seems to have a tougher skin, it's not going to be juicy. So you want to get one that has rounded ends here. And then to this one, I'm going to use some kosher salt. That's for those that need actual measurements, about 1/4 of a teaspoon to start with. Get some dill. That's also about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then if you have any Mrs. Dash or another type of herb spice that you like, with very little or no salt at all is best. And quick, easy, fresh salad. You can make this ahead of time, put it in the refrigerator, and it comes out nice and cold. So let's see, what else am I missing from this? I think that's about it. Let's see, let me get another spoon. And have Miss Sarah taste.
Thank you. Mm. It's a heartier salad. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
like
this,
the dill.
this one, again, you have that cucumber in there, you get that nice cooling offset. Unfortunately, I forgot it. But you could probably use others. Actually, we probably could use zucchini in it and it would give it just as good of a flavor. Again, that's going to be used in the grain salad.
Mrs. Dash is nice too. That with the dill. Nice flavor.
Mhm. All right. So this was, again, salad number 2, tomato and garbanzo cucumberless because I forgot it, salad, with a lemon and olive oil dressing. Again, you just dress it right inside. Okay. So we're going to put this one to the side for now. Okay. Let's clean up some of this dirty area just a bit. Okay. And then one thing that we are going to use on that grain salad, to keep talking about it, grain salad, is a type of goat cheese. And this one is honey flavored. I'm also going to be making some garlic bread, but it's not going to be the kind that you get out of like the freezer section at the grocery store. This one we're going to be making out of seeded bread. Again, there's poppy seeds, there's sesame seeds, there's sunflower seeds, there's pumpkin seeds, there's all types of seeds inside of this. I don't know if you can see. So the more grains that you're getting into your diet, whether it's actual seeds, grains, all these types of foods are kind of like that baby bottle brush. You know, when you clean out those baby bottles and it scrubs the insides of it to get it nice and clean? Well, that's what all of this stuff is doing. It's cleaning it out. It's making your body, you know, ready for the next day. All right, so there. Turn it on. I do have my bread. It's already cut. Now, when you're cutting your bread, you want to maximize the surface area on here. So you can see, cut it on the bias. If you were to cut it straight across, you get very little surface. And the more surface, the better. Okay, so we have it on there. And we're going to pop it in here. Let it toast. If you have a toaster oven, you can also do this in a toaster oven under the broiler. Until it starts to get brown. You don't want it to get too crispy. All right, so while that is toasting, all right. Here comes it. I don't know, you guys smell it? Because that wild rice, once it's fully cooked, it has this nutty flavor. Not nutty as in like bad nutty, but it's toasted nutty and
Toasted. Yeah.
And then again, we added that wild spinach to it. can see the holes have opened up. There's one that's almost, oh no, that's this is our wild rice, so it's opened up just nice. Okay, what we're gonna do now is get our bowl. Get some barley in here. Get some of this wild rice. Celery in there. Now, Miss Sarah, since you're standing there, why don't you tell us a little bit about the nutrition that wild rice would have with it?
Okay, Diné, thank you. This is a great example of whole grains. And the whole grains are good because they have fiber. The bran is intact, hasn't been stripped and bleached. So, like you were saying, it scrubs out the intestines. It's good. And it tastes great. It has a lot of good flavor. So, yeah, it's a complement to whatever other dish you want to add. It's going to have steak.
I'm going to put steak on the side.
I will mention though, for diabetics, you kind of want to be careful with your serving size with grains because that will raise your sugars. But that's a better choice than just the white rice that really doesn't have much nutrition.
Mm-hmm. And usually what I do first serving is about a half a cup of grain. Okay, so we have our grain. I'm going to grab some of these microgreens. Actually, I'm going to dress them. Actually, I like golden raisins better than I do the dark raisins. They have a better taste. Kind of like cola. Dark raisins, I don't know. There's just something about it. I'm not a fan of, but I'll say. Zucchini there. Take this one. Now with microgreens, it's better if you are able to dress them first. But actually, I'll be putting the dressing in it. So, oh, actually, haha, I forgot. We already made the dressing. So that's that balsamic. Now these microgreens happen to be like with radish microgreens. There's spinach and some arugula. There's all different types. And what these are is when you put your seeds into the ground, whether it's a lettuce green, a spinach green, your radish greens, any of those that you plant in there. When they're about this size, this is when you pick them, and they're a lot more tender. Oh, and they have slightly mellow, more flavor than, like, let's say you were to use cilantro at this stage. Sorry, I'm hungry. So the cilantro is going to have a bit of a stronger taste, where if you were to pick it when it's this size, it's very mellow. So this type of green, again, is going to be more mellow. It's not going to be as strong as when it's full grown. Okay. So we have all of these. This was the goat cheese. Not everybody likes goat cheese. For some, it's a little too strong. I like it. But for me, I like all different types of flavors. ever since I was young, my parents always, had us try different foods, different things. And I remember being with my grandma Minka and Coach T, and always following her around her kitchen whenever we went to go see her. She's one of my biggest inspirations. But pretty much any home that I went to, friends, family, strangers, and there was a grandma in the kitchen, that's where I would end up. That's where I would be. I wanted to be there learning about foods, about taste. I'm not going to put too much on right now. Now, taste as you go along, taste your dressing, taste, like I did just now, taste the greens to make sure that they are fresh. Taste the tomatoes. And with tomatoes, how many of you are keeping your tomatoes in the refrigerator? I know there's quite a few out there that are. Tomatoes they don't like being in the refrigerator. Tomatoes like being out with everybody else. They like saying, hi, everybody else. I'm here to share my life with you. Because once you put tomatoes into the refrigerator, it actually stops the sugars from forming inside of it. And so sometimes if you have them in the refrigerator and you take it out, you're like, this kind of just doesn't taste like a tomato. It's mushy. It just doesn't taste right. But that's because you've stopped that development process when you put it in there. But the thing is that once it's in there, it stops it. If you take them out, it will not start again. It will not regenerate. So keep tomatoes out. Keep them on the counter so that they can enjoy you and everything around them. Because the longer that they stay out, that tomato flavor, that sweetness is going to develop inside of them. All right, so now that we have it dressed, I'm going to mix it. Let's see, which one more. We'll get a plate. So here's our warm grain salad, and with those golden raisins, microgreens, tomatoes, zucchini, and pumpkin seeds. Toasted pumpkin seeds. I will find any reason to add pumpkin seeds to anything. Here. Sorry, everybody, we're kind of limited to space tonight. All right. Now, when you're cutting steak, some of you do know that there is a grain on steak and meats. See, cutting with it. I want to cut against it. There we go. Large piece. Now your portions might be a little bigger. Sorry, I'm limited here. have a meat, we have our hot green salad. So again, salads are not just lettuce and tomatoes. They can be a lot more. And bring these two back out here. Yeah, we have our everything salad here. And then we have our quick tomato and garbanzo salad. That happens to be cucumberless tonight. But these are the three types of salads that we have tonight. Again, they're quick, they're easy. You know,
Delicious.
sky's the limit. You know, choose all the ingredients that you want. You know, some of the basics that you need for your dressings, again, are olive oil, balsamic vinegar, red wine vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or just lemons. A little bit of salt and pepper. So, go eat. Does anybody have any questions out there? If you do, email us. Another thing, as soon as we're able to get back into the other community center, you know, I'm hoping that I can get any of you that are watching to want to be a participant. You know, contact. What do they need to contact?
They can contact Raylene.
Okay, contact Raylene at the tribal offices. Let her know, hey, I want to be a taste tester. I want to get my hands on some of that, or I want to, you know, just be, you know, participate. We're looking at also having some of the juniors, the young adults, the teens, to be my sous chef as well, where they're also going to be able to learn about the different flavors, the different foods, how to put things together. So, you know, tiny little ones, they get maybe a chef hat, I don't know. We'll see how good I am at origami. But yeah, get your little ones to, you know, get them in here. But yeah, if you try any of these recipes, let me know. Let me know how they turn out. Post them on social media. Share them. You know, if you have health goals for this, especially this summer, let us know what those are. Let me know what they are. I'd like to be able to support you in your journey. You know, if it's, you know, you're gonna try and walk a mile every day or a couple of miles by the end of the week, total steps. If you want to train for a 5K, if you want to, you know, do something to get out and just get more active, especially for those that are in the diabetes program. We want to get those A1C numbers down. All these different foods are going to help you do that, especially if you don't want to cook. Yeah, cooking is not something I like to do too much in the summer. You know, a yogurt smoothie. Maybe I'll teach you how to make yogurt. None of you have done that. But again, there's a lot that we have to share, a lot that we're going to show you throughout the rest of the year. So if you have questions, if there are items in the food box, yes, okay, so diabetes program YouTube page. So go there, Sarah's nutrition consultations. So keep those in mind. And then also, again, want to thank the governor. I want to thank the council. I want to thank the diabetes program. You know, everybody that's allowed me to come here, and also for Sarah to come here, to be able to share these things with you. You know, there's not a lot of us left in the Pueblos anymore, so let's make sure that we keep on going. So try these, let us know what you think, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.